Hi, it's the Chappiness guy. Welcome to today's episode of Vestibular Talks. Today's special guest is Monica. We welcome her back. Last year we met her as an Earth Angel and she told us a little bit about her story suffering from PPPD. This year she's back to share her new diagnosis. She's been diagnosed with vestibular migraines and she's going to share with us what she's doing to battle both conditions and to get her life back to normal. She also identifies herself with the Sparrow, strong and free. So join us to watch the episode and remember, like, share, and subscribe. Find your happiness, guys. All right, Monica, we're live.
Hey,
How are you today?
I'm great.
I was telling you before we started recording that you have this cool aura vibe around you of relaxation and peace. So that's cool.
Yeah, normally in my other videos, I like shrink my camera in so you can't see like all my junk. So you'll just have to excuse the junk to the
No,
side.
no, it looks cool. It looks like you have this kind of like very how would I put it, like meditation vibe. It's cool.
But it's funny because I'm surrounded by makeup.
Well, it's makeup meditation. It's good.
Yeah. It's relaxing for real though. Like
Yeah, it works.
it's an art. So
Monica, first of all, thank you for being. We had some technical difficulties regarding time on my end, so I apologize for that.
it's all
Uh,
right.
and I want to thank you. I want to thank you because I'm really looking forward to chatting with you again. We had a conversation last year. You
Yep.
introduced us to the world of triple PD or PPPD, and a lot of people. Your video, I believe, is the most visited video on my channel. A lot of people wanted to learn more about PPPD, wanted to see how you were doing. So I think it's time to catch up. Time to do a follow up on one
Yeah.
year after the video.
Yeah,
Let's.
a lot's changed since then, actually.
Yes, I,
Yeah.
I, I know you've been through a lot of different experiences.
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
let's start with you first were diagnosed with PPPD, and you recently, well, I shouldn't say recently, but this year got a new diagnosis of vestibular migraines. How was that process?
Yep. So about 6 months ago, I believe in the Lord, and I believe sometimes He just sets things up for you. And it was kind of a crazy situation because I wasn't doing well, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know I have triple PD, but I'm like, the more I learned about vestibular migraine, I'm like, I'm almost positive I have both, and the reason why, like, I don't get hung up on the diagnosis, but my whole thing is if there's a different treatment out there, then of course, I want to try it. And so, anyways, it was when, gosh, I can't remember exactly, but it was when COVID was all first starting to hit and all that stuff, and doctors were starting to do their visits online. Um, I don't even know how it happened, but I got in to see Dr. Bay from Texas, which he's very like highly sought after. Like it was crazy. Like I made a call there. My doctor referred me. Within 2 weeks, I saw him. That's unheard
Wow.
of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's God's plan, Monica.
Yeah, and so anyway, so we had that visit because with these diagnoses, you don't actually have to be seen. It's all based off of questions. Majority of it is, so he like spent like a ton, like a super long time asking me all these questions. And by the time he got done, he's like, you without a doubt have vestibular migraine. Because we went over my history of when I was younger and everything. And he's like, you are definitely a typical case. And so he said, and he kind of explained to me how like triple PD works and vestibular migraine and how I am more in a severe state because I don't just have vestibular migraine attacks. Like every day I'm in a attack,
Yes.
so to speak. And that's kind of where the triple PD comes into play too. It's a weird thing. So, so yeah, so then we just started that process, but it was a bumpy road right away though.
Okay,
Um,
Monica, so let's make it clear. Both conditions can coexist with each other, right? Like, it
yeah,
doesn't mean that because you got diagnosed with something new, then triple PD suddenly disappear. Like, they both can coexist with each other.
yes, yep. And the thing is, vestibular migraine, like, oh gosh, it's hard because you can have invisible migraines, which is very common for most people with vestibular migraine, or you can actually have migraine with aura, all these different ones. And I do have a history of actual migraines. And so, um, but he said I'm obviously having like the really bad kind of migraines and also the aura ones. And then he's like, I'm definitely having invisible ones too.
Mhm.
So I'm just kind of in this constant state
Very
of that's why I'm not getting better,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
But
But
you are getting better
yeah,
because you've improved quite a bit from last year. Like you're doing
yes,
better. You're more active. You started a business,
yes,
potentially started another business. So
yes.
you like a lot is going on. So tell us about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. I will say this before I move on because like after I got diagnosed with vestibular migraine, I did try some medications that he
Yes.
suggested. Once again, I did not do well on medication. I'm just, I know that's a common thing for a lot of people, and still
Yes.
it just I couldn't tolerate it, and so the only thing that I was able to tolerate was, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's a rescue medication called Maxalt. There's another,
Maxwell. Yeah.
yeah. And so when I know one is coming, like I recognize it, that does make it stop.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I can't even take that full pill because I'm so sensitive to medication. Like I have to like cut it up into this like itty bitty piece, but that little piece
It's
works.
already a tiny pill. So
It
carrying it
is.
is probably pretty difficult.
Yes. And when I had my checkup with him and I told him about that, and he's like, you can't handle that whole pill. I'm like, no, I can't. Like I'm in bed asleep if I take
Yeah,
that. So
it's 10 mg, right? Like one pill is 10 mg or 5 mg. I think it's 10.
I think mine are 5.
5. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you put them under your tongue and then they dissolve, correct?
Mine I swallow. I don't know if they're a little bit different.
Okay, because
Yep.
I do have one that you put it under your tongue and then they dissolve it within seconds and it's for a faster reaction. So it attacks the migraine right
Okay.
away.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
this helps me pretty quick, regardless. So
yeah,
I am glad to have that, and I don't feel weird from it, like the other kinds of medications.
yeah,
And so I do like, so to speak, that I have that in my back pocket. So if
yeah,
I do have something happen, hopefully I can nip it in the butt right away and take care of it. But
yeah.
so so I kind of was going through like a wave of like trying some different medications with him, not working. So I wasn't feeling well. I'm sure you know that experience when you're trying different things and trying to adjust and your body's not having it. And then it's almost like you have to recover from trying that medication. So I went through a few months of that. And then finally I was like, I'm done. I can't do it. It's just I can't handle the roller coaster of it. And once again, through just a mutual person in my life, she texted me, doesn't even know much about my condition, and she's like, I really think you should go see this upper cervical chiropractor in my actual town. And I'm like, yes, I'm open to chiropractors, but she said this guy was different. And I was like, I'm open for different. And I've made videos about this, but it's been life-changing for me.
Yeah.
Um, it's amazing, because like I just stated, I've been to a chiropractor my whole life, but the way he does these adjustments, within the first adjustment, I was more steady than I ever have been. Yep, I had so much energy, like even to this day, like I'm not like perfect by any means, and I'm still have my days, but um even my family and friends notice I'm happier. I have more energy. I'm doing stuff every single day. I do have to, I do recognize when I need to chill out or if
Yeah.
I'm having a worse day. I've learned to listen to my body, but overall, I'll put it this way. I am improving with that. But the thing is, it's not like a instant fix. Like I do notice if I go too long between visits, I start not feeling as well again. And so I all I know is this, is that is the only thing that has made me feel instant relief. Like, and hope that, I don't know, it's hard to explain because I know upper cervical hasn't worked for everyone, but I am fortunate that it is for me.
Yes,
You know,
yes, of
because
course.
and that's the case with like all of us, and anything that we try, some things work for some people and some don't, but for me this has been huge. I could literally tell I even have more blood flow. Like I can actually feel more in my body. It's
Nice.
Yeah, and so I want to interject one little piece of information because a lot of people have asked me this question about upper cervical care. And I'll be honest, I'm not an expert, but from what I hear, there's two different ways to do it. One, it's really gentle touches, and the other one, it's very more intense adjustments. And mine are
Uh-huh.
very intense.
Okay.
Very. They're not gentle. They're very intense and very they don't hurt me because I'm used to the chiropractor, but I don't know, it's cool. And plus as he's doing it, he's incorporating neuroplasticity, which I've been doing for years. And it's like, okay, dude, I get where you're going. Like I get this,
And that's part of the question that I was going to ask you. I was going to say, part of your healing process, you talk a lot in your videos about neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Can you walk us a little bit through in your own words, what neuroplasticity is for the people that don't know about it and how you use it for your own benefit?
Okay. The short version of neuroplasticity is retraining your brain to not get stuck on your symptoms. Basically, like the moment you have a thought pop into your head that's negative or not healthy, try to think the opposite. That's the beginning of it, is because our brains so easily want to stay in that motion of like, I feel this and I feel that, I feel this. Well, when that's happening, neurons are firing in our brain and they're wiring together. And the more we do it, the stronger those connections get. And so I really I did the DNRS program. And then also just in my daily life, I just try to catch it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't go down that path. And I think honestly, that's a lot of what's helped me to not stay in my bed all day, and I get up and I get moving for the day. I'm excited, but that took work. It took work
It,
on my.
it does. It does. And I know someone that is a really big person into the whole neuroplasticity is Joy Remini. Do you know
Yes.
Joy Remini?
Yep, I know who she is.
I'm
Yep.
actually, I'm actually going to publish her interview soon.
Okay.
Um, so she's very, very big into a program called Rock Steady. Have you heard of it?
Yep, I
Okay.
have heard of it. When I first learned about neuroplasticity, I found her and I found DNRS.
Okay.
And it just worked out for me to be able to, because at the time when I first heard all about this was like when I was super sick. And so, because I know she's based out of Australia, she didn't, and I'll be honest, at the time I couldn't afford her program, but DNRS had some videos that I could at least get sent to me, because this was back when I couldn't really travel or anything. And so I could at least learn about it,
Yeah.
um, but now there's more books out there now and stuff too, because when it comes to neuroplasticity, they're both on the same page,
Yeah.
basically.
But you're right, Monica. Like neuroplasticity, is not, let's say, an immediate cure. It's a consistent
Yeah.
process. You have to be consistent, and you have to catch yourself when you're going
Yep.
into the rabbit hole and be able
Yeah.
to process that. Yes.
Yep. Like DNRS calls it, is catch your its. Like, what are those its in your brain, And so, like I said, it definitely takes practice, and people tend to give up, when they do programs like that. But the thing is, you have to keep an open mind, because the thing is, it takes practice. And if you want to get better, you got to kind of put in the work a little bit sometimes too, you
True.
know.
And that's what I like that. I like what you just said, getting better. Because Monica, I obviously I and you as well. I have the hope that someday we'll
Yeah.
wake up and this will be gone. But we
Yeah.
need to be grateful about getting better. And
Yeah.
a lot of people that contact me, they're like, "What's the magic bullet that I can take that is gonna
Or
give me a
different.
cure?" And I tell them, I'm like, it's not like that. You need to get better slowly, and it's about getting better and maybe getting to a stage where, yes, you might hit a plateau and you might stay there, but you need to understand that you're better than when this all started. And
Oh,
and
yes.
and, and
Yes.
I feel sad because a lot of people don't want to hear that. They're like, no, I wanna be like I was before. And I'm like, I get it,
Yep.
but it's about getting better. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll be honest, if you have that mindset, you're going to be stuck there for a long time. Unfortunately, if you have that, you're just searching for answers constantly without taking action.
Yeah.
It's what it boils down to and what I've gained from, because it's been 3.5 years for me now. Never in a million years thought my life would be this way. But I have come to the terms that I get up every day, no matter what, because the thing is, I am symptomatic every single day still, but I have more joy. I'm happier. I do things that I love on a daily basis. I promote that all the time on my channel too. And on Instagram, I'm like, you literally have to do things you love, because I've actually seen it where it's like once I started being able to function and do more things again, I started, I think I talked about this before, like, because I'm a musician and I'm a worship leader, and like I never played my piano or I sang because I was too sick. But even if you sit down for a couple minutes every day, just there's just something so healing about that. We can't give up what we love because we're sick, when it's
Yeah.
the things that we love that could help make us better.
Yeah.
I know that's a
You
hard thing for some people to grasp, but it truly is. I mean, there's a reason why there's things, we have desires for things.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right, Monica. Another part of getting better is your glasses. You're now down to one prism. What's going
Oh,
on with that?
okay, that's a journey too. So, okay, yeah, my prism lens journey, because trust me, I hear all sides of the gamut when it comes to everything, to be honest. And some people were like, prisms didn't work for me, or they made me worse. And yeah, all that stuff can happen, but or that they take too long to help. I've had the prism lenses, gosh, for maybe 2.5 years, maybe 2 years. They were my first sign of relief. It wasn't instant. It's not like my perception was instantly better, but over time I started noticing that I could walk a little bit. Like, because I
Yeah,
mean, like, for people that don't know, like, I couldn't drive a car. I couldn't even look outside. Like, that severe state where a lot of people start,
yeah,
um, and so it got me out living life again. Those they're not these glasses anymore, but I ended up having 3 different prisms put in because my brain was so confused about which way was up, and like my eyes were pulling different ways. And also we put a rose colored tint on them to help with the light sensitivity.
yeah,
And so I wore those for a good, couple years or so. And then recently, we checked my eyes again. And it's kind of, you got to play around with it too. You have to have a good doctor that knows, what your eyes are doing and what we should try. And if it doesn't work, we need to go back. But we nailed it. Like, I'm down to one prism and no tint.
yeah.
Um,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and yeah, and I still have light sensitivity, but it's not severe and it's not every day. It depends
Yeah,
on the day.
no, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
now, Monica, I know you also did a lot of testing. Let's start with hormonal testing. You
Yeah.
went through to see if you had some hormonal imbalances, I believe. And what were the results? What happened to that?
Well, okay, so okay. This is going to be kind of hard to explain because the thing is, in the medical field, you have your like your mainstream doctors, and then you have your like more natural doctors that will go beyond the normal testing and stuff. And so It's been a journey because I was also diagnosed with PMDD, and now don't believe I actually have that because
Oh,
I've been told that sometimes when you have brain issues and things like conditions like this, like vestibular migraine and stuff, it can throw off women's hormones very easily, very
yes.
easily. And so I had to be told that by more of like a natural doctor versus mainstream doctor was like, no, you just have PMDD. Here's the medication. And so I rejected that. Like at first I was like, oh yeah, that's totally what's going on with me. But that's been part of my journey,
Thirty.
you know, and I wasn't willing to take that medication anyways. And so just knowing, just even knowing that these conditions can kind of goof that system up a little bit helps. It's just helpful knowing that.
Yes. And you're right, Monica. And it's like a vicious cycle because
Yep.
the brain messes up with the hormones and the hormones mess up with the
Yep.
brain.
Yep.
Because much like you, I went to a naturopath doctor and they tested my hormone level as well. And they said your testosterone is so low, like it's like
Yeah.
almost
Yep.
non-existent.
Yep.
But I eat healthy, I exercise every day.
Yep.
I'm only 34 years old, so
Yep.
they're like, your testosterone shouldn't be like this. But apparently, it's because what you just explained, the brain, it's having so much like electric disorder in there because of our conditions that is
Yeah.
making the hormones be off or whack over the place. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that's what I've learned. And because honestly, too, I've gained weight in the last year due to it too, but I'm not mad at myself about it because it is what it is, you know? And that's the other thing too, is I've really been learning too, and my chiropractor talks to me about um, better gut health and stuff too, because that's a key component to healing as well. And that's honestly my biggest struggle is like is the diet part of it, but it is important, you know, because the stomach and the brain are constantly communicating. Yes. And so we can't just work on up here. It has to be, you know, in our gut too. And I feel like if we get that good balance, eventually our hormonal stuff will
Will
kind of
balance out.
yeah, we'll balance out a little bit.
Now, speaking of the gut, Monica, you did another test as well about vitamins, vitamin deficiency, correct? And
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh my
so
gosh.
that one is quite important, right?
Yes. Okay. Well, I've always known since I got sick that I was ferritin deficient. My iron was always fine, but ferritin is like the storage unit of your iron. So
Okay.
usually, for most people that I'm aware of, like if your iron is depleted, it'll take from your ferritin. But yet, it was a weird thing for me. All I know is my iron was tanked, and so they put me on a supplement, but it's just kind of been up and down. And then when I recently went back to my main doctor and we had some labs taken because it's been a while, and I was like, I want to see, you know, where everything is at and my vitamin D, because you know, especially in like the northern states and stuff, like you know, we definitely need more vitamin D, you know, because we don't get as much sun or be outside as much. And
Oh, Monica, I think I lost you. Monica, I think the connection is failing.
can cause dizziness and headaches, and you know, it can cause, you know, issues on so many different levels. So yeah,
I lost you there for a second. The signal froze.
it looked like you froze on me.
Yeah, the signal froze for a bit. But I
Can
got what you
you
were
hear
saying about.
me?
Yeah, I got what you were saying about the vitamin D, but the signal froze.
Little
Okay, uh, Monica. Okay, so we were talking about vitamin D, how important it is. Now, speaking of the importance of vitamins and supplements,
yeah.
I do know that from watching your video yesterday that you got diagnosed with COVID-19.
Oh,
How how was that? Because Like most people that are already with a chronic condition are terrified of the unknowns. So what happened?
Yeah, okay. So I know I was kind of vague in that video because I really wanted to encourage people not to get scared, because I feel like there is too much fear out there, with it. Um, so obviously, if people are interested, they should probably go watch it because I do talk about it a little bit and how not to let fear get in there too much because that will affect our other stuff,
Yeah.
But okay, so when it happened, because I should state this, I I actually wasn't afraid to get it. I know that might sound weird to some people. Um, I guess just as a believer, I'm like I just trust God, and I just believe that like He'll take care of me, and that's just kind of where I stand with everything, And so when I noticed one of my sons wasn't feeling well, and I was like, I just knew it, I just had a feeling because it was different. It was just, I could just tell just by the way things were going. And so, anyways, yeah, I definitely had COVID, and within, I would say, a few days, I was bedridden. Right at the beginning, it started where it increased. Because the thing is, I should explain this. Like, I still am dizzy every day, but it's different dizzy. Like for example, right now, it's just kind of in the background. Like I know things aren't quite right, but I don't feel like this, like
Wait,
I did at the
yeah,
beginning. Like I literally felt like I was on a boat.
yeah.
So when I felt this dizziness come on me, it was almost like a dropping type falling type of thing. And I'm like, whoa, this feels different. This feels like I'm sick, for me anyways. And because like I said, I don't have vertigo attacks or anything like that. I just have always the side by side.
It's like,
Yep. And so when that happened, and then I started getting a really bad headache, but it felt different. When you have chronic stuff, when something else feels
yeah,
different. And this felt different. I was like, this is a different kind of headache. This is a different kind of dizziness. I'm like, I'm totally getting sick. And I just knew it. And yeah, the next thing I knew, for the rest of my family, it wasn't so bad for them, but for me, it did, because I do feel like my immune system is organized, and so I was in bed, I'll be honest, it's kind of a blur because the brain fog shot through the roof.
yeah.
So I almost felt like for a while, because I was kind of a little upset. I wasn't scared, but I was a little upset because I was doing so well. Like, my gosh, I was doing so many different things and like had so much energy, and then to feel all that stuff so heavy again.
Yeah.
So if anything, I was just more discouraged because I knew to prepare myself already for it to take a while to recover from this. Because obviously it triggered my vestibular system. I couldn't really eat much because I totally lost my taste and smell. And so it also increased anxiety because I couldn't use my coping mechanisms. And this is something I forgot to share in my video that I made was I still use oils to help calm me down. I couldn't smell them.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I still put them on. I still use them, but I could not actually smell them. And then also, I had a hard time breathing, which I've never had a hard time breathing in my life. And so I use also breathing exercises as coping tools if I'm feeling like a more severe, day or whatever, and I couldn't even get full breaths. And so I just learned that through that, I just had to really try. I know it's hard, but I just really had to remember that this is gonna pass. I'm not gonna have this forever, and that to distract myself. So honestly, when I was
Yeah,
in bed, I just watched lighthearted movies. I didn't watch things that like amped up my like
uh,
anxiety. I tried to just stay in peace as
yeah,
as best as I could, and it was nice too because my husband was around more too because just to keep me company and stuff. And but I do have to say this, it was maybe pretty bad for about a week, I've been free and clear. Like I do not have COVID anymore, but I still have COVID symptoms.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
like with the taste and smell, I'm about 80% yet. I still sometimes
Okay.
have a hard time breathing. Um, and then also it did take a while to get my energy level back up again because it did drain me. I'm not going to
Yeah.
sugar that it did, and so basically it was just like a really bad flu for me, but I just feel like with a vestibular disorder, I don't know if it's going to be the same for everyone because everyone is so different, but um, you know, just recovery time with my other stuff took a while, you know,
Yeah.
like
Monica,
sorry, go ahead.
you're a warrior. You're a warrior of God because look, you had COVID, you had your vestibular condition, two
Yeah.
vestibular conditions, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
PPP and vestibular migraines, and here you are encouraging others and talking to others to bring them hope. So
Yeah. Well,
kudos.
it's just
Yeah,
my nature. You know that. I just know the other direction isn't going to get you very far.
yeah,
you know
absolutely right.
and that's why I pray for those that struggle because like there is hope. There is, it's just, you can't give up on trying things, or like if you do get sick you can't stay, if you get the flu or COVID or whatever it is, you have to remember you are more suscept I can't say that word, more than likely
Yourself.
yeah, you're gonna experience more heightened senses again, or it's gonna be worse, and you have to realize you're not gonna stay stuck there,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
Yeah.
Monica. Now let's talk about life on its own. You, as I mentioned earlier, you're starting. You have a business now, a makeup business, potentially
Yep.
starting a new business.
Yep.
Uh, how is that? Is that, does it get overwhelming with your health on the side, or is actually helping you overcome anxiety and things like
Yeah.
that?
That's a good question. Okay, so Um, prior to all this, I've just been a stay-at-home mom. I used to work in the school systems years ago, just so people have a little bit background of my work experience. I used to be a teacher's aide. Yeah, I used to work in a classroom with kindergartners screaming their heads off. Can you imagine? Now,
Yeah, that's a
um,
lot.
right? I couldn't do that now, but um, so anyways, but I've always had these certain desires, and outside of even like, worship leading and stuff like that, like I've always loved fashion, and I've always had the desire like to have my own boutique, not like necessarily in a store, but even like, you can do so many things online now.
Oh yeah.
And but I never pursued it because my brain doesn't know how to do the the legal part of it. I can pick out cute clothes, I can style things, I can make, the artsy part of it, no problem, but I never pursued it because my my brain just can't. Like it overwhelms me.
Much.
And then when I get overwhelmed, that's where you have to watch your stress with these conditions because stress will make it worse,
Trigger.
and so I never pursued it, but I did start a few months ago. My sister um, did this a business with makeup called Pharmacy, and it's all online. I don't have to go anywhere for work. It's fun, and I'm like, I can do that. I can totally do that. And that was what started sparking things in me. Like I woke up every morning like excited to do something different, like, than other than get my kids up for school, make sure they're getting their homework done, making
Yeah.
sure I got supper, just the normal mom stuff. And it gave me purpose that was different, but I needed it. Like I so needed it. And it wasn't financially like taking a lot out of my pocketbook, and there was just so many good things about it. And
Yeah.
what's funny about it is I literally have got to the point where I can have a ring light on me when I do videos on Facebook. That's how much I'm
Wow.
feeling. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but that was all neuroplasticity too,
Yeah.
getting my brain used to it, incremental training as I talk
Yeah.
about. And then so when I started doing this, I was like, this is awesome. I love this. And then my best friend actually is opening up a coffee shop here in town. And she's like, you should totally do a boutique, which she didn't really know that was already something that I would love to do. So it's happening. Long story short, it's happening. I'm going to have,
Lining up. It's
yeah,
lining up.
it's called Sparrow Ground. It's, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's so I'm going to have a spot in her coffee house. She's helping me learn the business side so I'm not overwhelmed. I got my
Nice.
license, and I did have a couple of moments where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But between my husband and my best friend, they're helping me. You
Oh,
know,
congrats. That's
yeah,
just cool. That's
it's
really,
exciting, right?
yeah, and
And
you really promote your Sparrow brand. I even your necklace, is it custom made or you bought it?
okay, yesterday was my 10-year wedding anniversary, and my husband just got this for me. He found it
Yeah,
at a local jewelry store, and there's like it's a sparrow and it has some diamonds in there, and I
nice. No,
yeah,
it's really cool. You really promoted your brand. That's really cool.
yeah.
Monica, I also know that you have a new family member. You have a new dog.
It's a sickness.
How many
I
you got now?
for
Like, yeah, me too.
okay. In all fairness, for family members that watch this video, this was not my plan. So we had 3 dogs prior. We are big dog people. They're like children to us,
Yeah.
And a family member got this dog, and he found out. He realized he's a single guy, and he just realized between work, he felt bad. He thought he could give it
Yeah.
enough attention, he couldn't. And I'm like, should we? Like I said to my husband, I'm like, should we just take him? Because he reminded me of one of my dogs that I lost when I was actually really sick. His
Oh,
name was Bear. He was only 4 years old. He was like my therapy dog. I didn't talk about that a lot on my channel because
no?
I was really sick back then. It was a couple years ago. And I had this golden doodle where he literally knew when I didn't feel good. And he would sit by me for hours and never move. And we would cry, like I'd cry on him, and just like he was like my therapy dog. And this new dog reminds me of him. He acts like him. It's almost like he was meant to be my dog anyways. So
Yeah.
anyways, his name is Thunder, and yes, he's here.
It's it's he like thunder. It's he a lot of energy like thunder.
He's gonna be big when he drops to the ground, like it's like you hear it.
Really rumbles. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool, Monica.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold for you now?
Well, the business stuff. So that's going to keep me busy, on a daily basis because, I have to be online, working on inventory. And I don't know, it's exciting, but yet also, like I've talked about this in our last video, like I'm a worship leader though. So I'm very devoted to the worship team and my church. I'm on leadership there. And so it's a mixed bag, of everything. And it's good. I'm finding that I'm busy, but I'm not overly busy, and it's good because I recognize that I'm still healing. I can't overdo it. And my friend even knows this. She's like, you got to pace yourself with this and just still listen to your body. There's no pressure from her, which is awesome. And so it's going to be a good partnership but yet healing.
Is it Sparrow ground?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. And it's just, and so basically we're going to be launching, like opening next week. So yeah, it's fresh, it's brand new. And so that's where a lot of my energy is right now.
Are you eventually planning to have a website so people can kind of like see what you have in your boutique and things
I'll
like
be
that?
honest, it's one of those things that's overwhelming right now. My brain's like, I can't handle that. But yes, in the future, I would absolutely love to be able to do that because as a creative person, I already have so many things going through my brain and so many things I want to do and implement on things that I've encouraged people with, even through, because I'll say this too, I'm also very devoted to New Life Sparrow and the community that I have going on there. Every comment that I get or message, like, 'cause there's legit people like still wanting to kill themselves, wanting to like not be here. And so my heart, first and foremost, honestly, is still for the chronically ill, even though I'm still sick. And so I still prioritize that a lot too, and really make sure that if somebody reaches out to me, that I do the best that I can to, encourage them that it gets better.
It's interesting you say that, Monica, because I had an interview. I haven't posted it yet, but with Amy Shock. I don't know if you know Amy.
I've heard the name.
So she's a personal trainer in the UK,
Okay.
and she also suffers from vestibular migraines, and her videos were one of the first videos on YouTube regarding the condition.
Yes.
So she gets a lot of messages as well from people
I'm
saying,
sure.
"Hey, what's going on? Are you getting better?" And she also believes in God. And she told me during the interview, she said, my plan is now that I'm better. She's like, I'm not cured by any means, but I'm better.
Yes.
But my plan is to continue giving back to the people that are in the darkness right now, because I wanna help them like other people help me. So that's very nice that you're doing that as well, Monica, because now that you're better, you're encouraging and motivating others to get better as well.
Keep going. That's the thing, is you have to keep going, keep trying things, don't get overwhelmed by it. But yeah, I will never, because this is something, you don't go through something like this and just forget it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a huge part of you. And, I don't know. Obviously I wish there was a better option for us, but there isn't right now. It's just persistence and not giving up. And, and I think also giving hope to those that really need it, because it can't, that's the thing, is it ultimately, you can get better, so to speak. So
Monica, as you know, the channel is called Find Your Chappiness. So how does Monica find her chappiness? What do you do to find your chappiness?
Okay, so I think I misunderstood what you said for a second. Like in general,
what do you do to find your happiness? Yes, what makes you happy?
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I have a lot of things that make me happy now, though, which is so funny. If you would have asked me 3 years ago when I was super sick, nothing made me happy. Nothing. There was nothing anybody could do or say to me to make me happy, because life was terrible. But now, I mean, obviously my family, like, I love music. Like, music fuels me. Like, playing with our worship band and stuff, like, that's my zone right there. Yeah. And my friend, and I have a lot of things. I don't even know what else to say. It's just, life is just really good right now. I'm happy.
That's good. And I'm happy for Thunder because he ended up in a good home. So,
he did. He did. Yes.
Monica, my last question for you is, where can people find you?
Okay. Well, I am on YouTube, New Life Sparrow. And then also I have an Instagram that's New Life Sparrow 23. So I tried to keep it as, as close as the same as I could. So that's basically where I'm at. And I do still make videos on New Life Sparrow on a weekly basis. I'm going to have one coming up here probably tomorrow, where I'm talking about potential past traumas that can lead to illnesses. So it's something I haven't talked about before. So I don't know. We'll see how that one rolls out.
Look forward to watching it. Awesome. Well, Monica, I want to thank you. As usual, you're super cool. You're so amazing. So thank you for that. And then, I'm really happy that you're improving, that you're doing better, and keep it up. And good luck with the new business. I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops. That's great.
Me too. Me too.
All right, Monica. Well, have a good afternoon.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.